What's going on, YouTube? Dylan here from Field Strength and Athletics, back at you for another video here from the garage. So, if you've already seen the title to this video, you already know what's going on. We are going to go over how to be prepared for your very first strongman competition. We're going to go over the basics. We're going to go over what we need to do and the mindset that you need going into this. So let's get right to it. So, before we get to any specifics, there is a very, very important thing when it comes to the mindset going into your first strongman competition. You do not need to win. You do not need to be the strongest person there. The goal is to have fun. That is number one, most important, before everything else. I don't care how hard you train, have fun. So don't go in there trying to fit into a certain weight class. Don't go in there trying to be better than everybody else. Go in there, compete for yourself, have fun, and make sure that you're there to celebrate all the hard work you've done. And another helpful hint, I always recommend this for people going to their first competition. Make sure to maybe only invite one friend, right? You don't want your family, your friends, your friends' friends, and all of a sudden you have 20 people there showing up for your very first meet. I'm telling you, there's already going to be enough nerves. You don't need any more added in. So step one, after the stuff that we talked about beforehand, which is just mandatory, not going to skip past those. So number one, choosing your federation or choosing your strongman meet. There's two main ones you can go through. US Strongman, I'll leave the link down below where to find that. That right now is my personal favorite. Or the Strongman Corporation, which is the one where you see where they use the World's Ultimate Strongman as well. So if you'd like to be in that federation, that's always a good one to go. I'll leave a link for that down below as well. But choosing between those two and setting a date are very, very important, because you want to make sure you give yourself enough time to be prepared. Step two, we are going to decide the best meet for you. So this coincides with choosing a good date as well as finding one that looks fun, right? So if doing a max log press and a series of Atlas stones sounds perfect for you and you're super excited about that one, do that one. If there's a meet where one thing you feel very insecure about, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Maybe looking for another one maybe a month later or in a different federation. So that being said, there's always going to be 5 criteria when going into any type of meet. So you can kind of pick and choose which ones you prefer. There's always going to be a squat or deadlift. There's always going to be some version of a medley. There's always going to be some version of overhead press. There's always going to be some type of stone, whether it's Atlas stone, natural stone, stone of steel. And then there's always going to be some dynamic exercise. So keg runs, yokes, stuff like that. So pick a meet, whatever federation that has 5 events that you really feel passionate about, or 3 events that you've seen on TV or you've seen in the gym somewhere, and you go, that looks cool. That's going to be very helpful going into your meet. All right, step 3. So we already have the correct mindset. We already have picked our meet, and we know what the events are going to be at least a little bit. So now what we need to do is have some sort of a plan to follow going for the next 2, 3, 4 months, however long it is. Now, for most people, especially if this is your first meet, keep it simple. Do the strong list 5x5, make sure you're working some overhead press, or you can do some variation of the 5-3-1 program. Those are great programs to do, especially if you're just going in there to have fun. But personally speaking, for both me and some of my clients and athletes that I work with, it does benefit having a coach. You feel more confident and you don't feel as anxious going in. And if you do, you have someone there to help you get to the other side, okay? But if having a coach is slightly out of the question, don't worry about it. Stick to something simple, something you can find online, the 5x5 or the 5-3-1 programs. All right, step 4, and probably the most, the question I get most asked, or asked the most, when it comes to preparing for a competition. What gear do I need to have? I'm here to tell you, you don't need anything. You do not. All right, usually if you're going to sign up for a novice meet, you don't need all the wrist straps, the straps, everything like that. It is not a necessity. It will help, but it's not a necessity. What I will say or recommend, looking at two things, is a good weightlifting belt. So something, say, from Pioneer Fit or Inzer, where you're gonna have the 13 millimeter thickness, 4 inches wide, to help with some of those heavier events, just to make sure that you're staying safe and staying fresh for the entire meet. And the other one is maybe getting some wrist straps if you have a big overhead press event. So say if you have a log press or a circus dumbbell, sorry, that sucks. But you wanna make sure you have good wrist straps just to make sure, once again, your wrist and elbow stay healthy for the entire competition. Those would probably be the only two I would recommend. You don't need anything more than that. And I'll also leave a link for those good belts and wrist straps down below. I'll also mention Cerberus Strength as well as a great one for strongman independently. Those are some great websites, and make sure I'll leave those down below. Step number 6. This one pertains to competition day, okay? So, or the couple days going into competition as well. Number 1, make sure you're well rested. Don't go out on a hike the day before. Don't be out partying the day before. I know that sounds pretty obvious for a lot of you, but it's still important to say. Make sure that you're well rested. The next part of that is making sure that you bring food with you. These meets, depending on how many competitors are there, can last like 8 hours. And the next part of that is, if you do have people coming with you to that competition, or that one person like we recommended before, make sure they know when you're up, so that way they can holler, they can yell, and they can help make sure that you are having the best time you possibly can. All right. Step 7, the final step, and probably the most important for people going into their first novice strongman competition. Talk to the other competitors, especially people that aren't in the novice section. Go introduce yourself, make some friends. It is the best way to learn, is to build a following or a group of people, like-minded people that like to do the same thing, that have maybe messed around with some implements that you haven't. It is so important, and I've seen it fail so many times, where people do not talk to the other competitors. We're all there to have fun. No one's in there to go make like a $100,000 purse. Have fun, talk to people, make new friends, learn something new. That's the best way to make this sport grow, and it is the best way to make sure that you enjoy your time doing it. All right, well, that's it, guys. That is the list for setting up your first strongman competition. My personal recommendations from doing a number of competitions and getting others prepared for it. If you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe, pretty please, down below, share if you enjoyed it, and for those new people here, welcome to Field Strength and Athletics. We are having a new video every week, so make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get alerted every time we make a new video, and I'll see you guys on the other side.